And speaking of the man that did change the game, that made that Mount Rushmore moment, the franchise Shane Douglas is here. He is back in the house. How is that signing for you?
Great. We're pretty busy over there. It's great stuff, though. Really cool stuff with some pictures that I've never seen.
Are you serious?
Yeah, some things over there. And then another picture that I have seen, but I haven't seen often, a picture of me and Derek Dukes together from way back in the day up in Minneapolis. So Highspots has that too, man. It's good stuff.
Wait, I'm sorry. Derek, I know that name, but like, can you, I feel like that's one of those names that the fans at home might not know something about. Do you mind telling the fans at home a little bit about him?
Yeah, great guy, great athlete, good young wrestler, right around the same age. He had gotten his foot in the door with AWA, good build, bigger guy, and worked in the AWA right as they were getting ready to close it down. And I was talking with Mike before we came on the air. I don't think, I may be wrong on this, I don't think Derek ever went anywhere else. He'd worked locally up there in the Minneapolis area. But one of those, over the course of my career, I've seen so many guys like that that had all the tools, right? They had the body, the athleticism, the look, they had the idea, the brain for the business, and for whatever reason decided to go a different trajectory. And, it's like in my brain, I always think, like, what would Derek Dukes have done in the business had he moved on to, say, a WCW, NWA, ECW? But great guy. And when I look at the picture, I can instantly put myself back in that time frame. I remember vividly driving up there, Derek picking me up at the Minneapolis airport, driving. It was in an outdoor, sort of like a petting zoo type place, like a recreation area type place. Still little pockets of snow on the ground. And wrestled outside. And one of my funnest memories of being in, working in the ring, because it was no stress. It was an easy day. And so I understand you guys are going to have Derek in someplace soon, right?
Yeah, we have him at the Gathering.
At the Gathering.
About 3 weeks.
Is he one of the 10,000 guests at the Gathering, Michael?
But he's one of 3 of our guests.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, so hopefully they'll be exchanging stories. Maybe we'll give you guys each other's phone number, and that way you guys can text and become besties again.
Yeah, great.
Have they told you anything about this show?
Not a thing.
They haven't really told you anything about this show.
And the cue cards are too small for me to read. I can't. No cue cards. I'm just kidding.
Well, we like to sell off items on this show tonight. And one of the items, as we stated early in the show, will be this promo of you from WCW. And you will sign it. And will you inscribe it however they would like this promo inscribed?
Absolutely. As long as it fits on there, yeah.
Okay, so he will inscribe it however you want it inscribed. This is an original, authentic WCW promo. This isn't a replica or a reprint. This is an authentic print. I'm going to take it to the close-up cam so the people at home can see it, and start your bidding in the comments section right now. Now, you retired from wrestling quite some time ago, correct?
Semi.
Okay, semi-retired. So that means you've had a little bit of free time away from the business. Yeah. So what have you kind of done with the free time?
Well, I'm a proud father of 2 boys, 2 young men. 20-year-old, my oldest son is now living in Nashville. He's a musician, a guitarist, trying his hand at music.
What type of music, like country, rock?
Mostly jazz fusion, but he also loves rock. He's been through the panoply, right? When he was a kid, he went through the Green Day, that sort of punk rock style. When he was a real small kid, he grew up listening to my stuff, right? The rock music and heavy metal from the 70s and 80s. Now he sort of crosses over a lot of stuff. He likes some rap. He likes the jazz fusion. He likes some current rock. He's getting turned back onto the old rock stuff. But he's down in Nashville, and I dabbled with bass when I was a kid. He's light years beyond musically anything I could do. He speaks a different language, but for me, I'm proud to see him pursuing his dream. Take some cojones to say, I'm going to move from Pittsburgh to Nashville when I'm 19 years old and take this stab. But, I'm a firm believer as somebody that was blessed to achieve his dream. I want my kids to pursue every dream that they ever want. My youngest son is 15 now, and he's, I would call him, all my kids were good at athletics. But my 15-year-old is far eclipsed. I was good at football and wrestling. He's good at baseball, ice hockey, basketball. He's good at everything. And
So he's
and
the
really
all-around
takes to it.
5-star
Yeah,
athlete.
Yeah, and he enjoys it. He loves it. So I got two incredible young men, and that's really taking up the bulk of my time. I'm not doing something on signings or on the road someplace. I'm spending as much time as I can with my boys.
Do you want to plug your son's music? Does he have a page that they can look him up on, like
Not
YouTube,
yet.
anything
Not
like
yet.
that?
A group of 4 of them moved down there, and the last one, the 5th one, is moving down this week.
Okay.
So he's the drummer, and so they've been waiting. They've all been writing their own stuff. And when he gets down to this week, then the amazing thing is, again, how the world has changed. When I was that age, if I wanted to record something, you had to reserve, rent out a recording studio and a production personnel and all the producers and the rest of it.
Like
Now,
this thing that we're doing
big
here.
Get up, right? Now these kids have on their computers. They can raise the sound of this, take the sound of that out, move this over to here, put these 2 songs together. So they really have their own recording studio. But as soon as I get that, I'll get it to you guys. And I'm guessing that probably another month or so, they get that stuff put together. They'll start putting it out.
Okay, so what are you currently listening to then? What's bumping in your stereo right now?
I love Tammy Wynette and I love Johnny Cash. I do love some of that old country, but I'm still stuck in the stuff I grew up listening to. Right, I'm a huge UFO fan. Always been a Kiss fan. In fact, going to see Kiss on their final tour in Pittsburgh, August 23rd, I believe. So if you're in Pittsburgh, you'll see me at the last Pittsburgh show for Pittsburgh. Sort of brings it full circle. In 1977, I saw my first Kiss concert in Pittsburgh. So, and many in between. But yeah, I still love listening to some Zepp. My son tries to turn me on to some of the newer stuff. I just can't get into the. I love guys that can sing. That have really great vocals. Paul Stanley's a great vocalist. Phil Mogg from UFO, great vocalist. David Coverdale, Robert Plant, right? I mean, just amazing vocalists. And everything is. And this song sounds exactly like that song. The musicianship of it, though, is amazing. The drumming that I'm hearing from some of these drummers today is like mind-blowing.
That double bass that they have now.
All of the double bass. The one guy, I forget the group, but he plays a backward beat. So instead of the crescendo going up, it's always going down in the other direction. It almost sounds like you're listening to it backwards. And I thought it was done in the studio, and he showed me the video. The guy's playing it live like that. So like the kids in our business today, their athleticism, these drummers and these musicians and guitarists today are really, really transcending the stuff that was done before them, and it's impressive to see.
Gotcha. Let's see if we have any impressive bids for this Shane Douglas WCW promotional piece. Michael, is anyone bidding in the comments section?
Yeah, I'll give you a little list. We had a bunch of people start us out at $20. Ryan Adams, Anthony Musius, Jason Cantrell all jumped in about the same time at $20. Then we had an escalation. Ryan Adams went to $40. Michael Chavez right behind him. Tim Kilkenny. Michael Chavez back in it. Ryan Adams at $55. Michael Chavez now at $60. So Michael Chavez, $60. High bid, 30 seconds on the clock.
Okay, guys, you heard that. The high bid right now is $60 for this authentic WCW promotional promo of the franchise, Shane Douglas.
I just saw up there somebody asked if I still like Rob Zombie. Love Rob Zombie. The old stuff, that was the backbone for ECW, right? And he used to come to the shows. Great guy, great music, and now a great director too, right?
Yeah.
People that can do so many different things and are great at it like that really impress me. And Rob Zombie's a great guy and a great musician, awesome music, and now great movies to watch too. So I love Rob Zombie.
Now, you did talk about a little bit how, I don't like to talk about wrestling on the show, but we do have to ask this question of you because you are a legend. Do you keep up with any of the current product? And if so, are there any wrestlers out there where you're like, man, he needs to be the guy?
Yeah, because of my podcast, the Triple Threat podcast, and franchised, I rarely get the chance to watch full shows because of my schedule. But my podcast partners are gracious enough to send me the clips of what I need to watch. I had worked with a kid, MJF, two and a half years ago in Cleveland, and
he's the fucking worst. He's so mean. He's the meanest person everyone's ever met.
That's a heel, right? That's the way it's supposed to be. But what I see in him is, an old timer like me can watch a kid, and there's always, most kids you'll see there's a glimmer of something there, and you don't get a chance to watch them night after night after night, so you can't really sometimes put your finger exactly what it is. But MJF is exactly because he's playing an old school heel, right? And it's so refreshing and it stands out because you don't see it anymore. So I really
That Fuck Them Kids clip that he did, by the way, was fantastic.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Great stuff, right? And the heel's job is to piss you off to pay to see him get his ass kicked.
Yes.
And he does a great job of that. Across the board, I am slack-jawed at the athleticism of the kids today. That said, I always like to give some criticisms back because that's how you learn.
You giving a criticism back, like almost like it, like that's one of the like you're like grading it, like
was done to me. Right?
Yes,
How many
see?
times? You know, but you know, we came into the business at a time when those guys, those giants before us, were super protective of the business, super protective of the kayfabe, not going to show the audience how we cut the lady in half. And there's no need for that. All it does is detract from the viewing, the enjoyment of the viewing. So when you see the business today, like WWE, for instance, right? You and I are wrestling at WrestleMania, and for 3-4 months, I've been doing terrible things to you, and you're going to get back at me, and all this stuff. Now, WrestleMania's this weekend, and here we are at the WrestleMania experience going, having a glass of beer together, a cup of wine, right? Why? I mean, it just flushed down everything we spent doing in the ring and on television for the last months and months and months leading into this. It just kills it kills the enjoyment for the viewer to watch you kick my ass at WrestleMania. No need for it. But the kids' athleticism off the charts. The problem is it's in no directed manner. So if we go to the ring, if I was a kid in the business today, I'd hit the ring, and in the first 2 minutes, I'd have done 26 crossbodies and, you know, flipped and run down the ropes and doing all this other stuff. No rhyme or reason to it, right? When we say telling a story, the telling a story is if I'm working that, and I've worked that for 5 minutes, after that, after you get away from me, I'm not going to now go to this because I've been working this. If I've got your wrist or your arm or your leg hurting, why would I go to this or this or this or that? And you watch today, and these kids, and it's not a criticism per kid in the business. They've not seen it. They've not been in the ring. I was in the ring every night with the Pez Watleys and Dick Slaters, Dick Murdochs, Eddie Gilberts, every night teaching me this stuff and catching hell when I did it wrong. In other words, learn my craft or else. I would love to see what these kids with this jaw-dropping athleticism would create if they were under that kind of tutelage. You know, Bill Watts was not easy to work for. But if you ever heard my interviews, you hear me invoke his name all the time because I learned from him, right? And learning from somebody, if I've got a wealth of knowledge up here about, say, you know, this or that, and you want to learn about this or that, and I know, well, I'm going to teach you that, right? Or I can sit down and say, okay, Tommy, this is how this happened, and this is the deal behind that. I'm giving you for free what took me decades to learn. For me to turn my back on that, if they're trying to give that to me, well, if I would have turned my back, I would have been out the back door and the next kid would have been in my place. I want to see what these kids can create, because when I'm older and fatter and not as fakey hair as I have today, I want to be able to sit back and drink a beer and watch wrestling. I love wrestling. And I want to be able to watch it and not sit there and go, oh, why did he do that? And why didn't they this or that or the other thing? Our big craft, it takes a long time to master, right? I mean, you're in the business and you know it's not something you can say, okay, here's a book, read it tonight. Tomorrow you're going to be great at it. It takes a lot of time to do. The problem is bad habits are hard to sanitize.
Yes.
You know, for those of us that bite our nails, right? Try to stop yourself from biting your nail. When you learn to do something improperly and then you reinforce that nightly by doing the same thing wrong over and over again, now tomorrow they say, stop doing it. Like starting to bite your nails, you can't just stop doing it. It's hard to break those bad habits. But I want to see what these kids could create with that. I think it'd be magic.
Now, let's see if anybody has created some more bids for this WCW promo. Michael, has anyone?
That was a long 30 seconds, so I'm not even going to make you give a countdown. Michael Chavez, $60 is the winner.
All right, Michael Chavez, please pay your invoice and put in the comments what you would like the franchise to write on this promotional picture from WCW. We're going to move on to the next item, which is a trading card that will come encased. This is a WCW Shane Douglas trading card. I'll put it to the close-up cam right there. Start bidding in the comment section. Now, I got to know, you're a pretty cool dude. You got interesting, like I've listened to some of your podcasts, you've got interesting takes on things.
Yeah.
What are you watching on TV right now? What to you is like hot on TV?
As much as I try not to, because I haven't been a teacher and been a student of government and politics for so long, I sort of digress to news, and I hate it because I watch it for 15 minutes and my blood pressure gets up to here. But when I'm home, if my sons aren't home, well, my older son's rarely home now, but if my younger son's not home or I don't have to pick him up for practice, typically I'm reading a book. Right now I'm reading a book called The Media, about big media, big tech, social media companies in this country, and I have a unique take on things, as you pointed out. But my unique take on things has been sort of the culmination of my career, in-ring career. That's the culmination of my learning the Constitution, of my learning the history, of my being raised in a house with a World War II vet, heavily decorated World War II vet, and now being a father myself. Just a little sidebar. We were talking, Chelsea and I were talking in the other room, really concerned. Look, the bulk of my life is behind me. I hope to have a whole lot more ahead of me, but I think it's fair to say that the bulk of it's behind me.
I mean, people are living to 200 nowadays. Like you could be that guy that cracks the 200 mark.
Hey, for all you people working on immortality out there, guinea pig right here. I'll give it a try. I want to be around as long as I can, but I don't want my kids raised in a country where if you say the wrong thing, you get canceled or attacked or doxxed. The First Amendment. I used to teach my kids, and when I was teaching the First Amendment, I'd start off with the first. I'd walk in from the hall and sit there and just give them the franchise stare for about 30 seconds, make them feel uncomfortable.
Can you hit the franchise stare to the camera?
Hard to do with a straight face now. But, just make eye contact with each one of them, and I'd say, because I can be pretty verbose, as you know, and I'd ask the kids, who here would like to, if you could shut Mr. Martin up, who would like to shut, and the smart asses in class, their hands would shoot up right away, right? Well, then I'd tell the rest of them, if I promise you can't be in trouble, slowly but surely they all sheepishly put their hands up. And then I'd say, well, be careful what you ask for, because as soon as you shut me up, it's just a matter of time before you get shut up. First Amendment must be unfettered.
I like that. I really like that, by the way. I like that line. Can you say that one more again, just so that sticks in my memory for good?
Be careful what you want in shutting me up, because once I'm shut up, it's just a matter of time before you're shut up. And look back through history; it repeats itself over and over again. History does repeat itself. Boy, I sound like a boring history teacher, don't I?
No, it's all good. Let's see if history has repeated itself. Has anybody started bidding on this WCW card?
Yes, we had several people bid, and we are all the way up to $65 with Travis Early.
Gotcha. And guys at home, just so you know, we will take the card out of the case so he can sign it, and then we will recase it and then seal it up. So that way that card will forever be in that condition for the rest of the time that you have it. Now, since you talked about history, what's a little piece of history that you wish more people would research, where you're just like, man, I think that more people, if they learned about this part of history, would learn so much about how to thrive in today's world?
Two things: Civil War, the reasons for the Civil War, the outcomes of the Civil War, but also, and this is a big one, back when I was teaching back in the 90s, the Constitution was sort of slowly being phased out. They brought a textbook to me, beautiful, probably $250 textbook, where they wanted, with the Common Core, to standardize the history books across the country. No problem, if it's the right history. I read, the first thing I did was go right to the glossary, U.S. Constitution. And to my astonishment, there was one page notation. It was page 44. So I flipped to page 44, and there was a box about this big in the middle of it. Just a perfunctory definition of the Constitution.
A blurb.
Yeah, nothing about the Founding Fathers, nothing about why was this in and this out, nothing about the Federalist or Anti-Federalist papers. There was no context to whatsoever, just this is what it is. I threw it in the garbage can, and I told the principal I won't use that book. Those two things, and I've seen it with my children, very scant, if at all, introduction to the Constitution. It's the bedrock of what builds this country that the country's run on. So, those two things, I mean, a gazillion other things in history, but those two things as to where the country resides right now, I think really need to be gone back to and looked at and really dug into, because there are so many nuanced things. There are scholars that have been studying the Civil War their entire lives and still learn stuff about the Civil War. It's so many things, but just dig in enough. I promise all of you, if you start to dig into that stuff, you're going to find something that interests you. It's going to pull you down even deeper. It's just an amazing period of U.S. history, and like we say, history repeats itself, and I think we're seeing a lot of the tenets that fed into the Civil War then are beginning to raise their heads again now. Scary.
Yeah, that is absolutely terrifying. We don't normally talk politics on the show, so we won't go too deep into it. Not like we're not afraid of it. It's just we're a freaking wrestling show, and
Yes.
I'm on too much stuff to even go that deep. The edibles are really hitting hard now, guys. Let's see if anybody's hitting hard though on this trading card that the franchise will sign for you.
$65, Travis Early, put it on a 10-second clock.
We're going to do a 10-second countdown. So 10, 9, 8,
70.
7. Wait, did someone else bid? Someone else bid? Okay. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll let the lag catch up. I'll do the little hand motion wave thing so the fans at home can know that the auction is over. So you look like $1 million freaking bucks, by the way.
I don't know.
Like how old are you now? I know I'm not supposed to ask people their age, but how old are you now?
Gospel truth, wrestler never tells a lie. 29 years old. It's again, no, it's I'll leave it at this. I'm over 50.
Okay, what's the secret to keeping the shape, man? Because like some of these guys come in and they look like shit, dude. And you're kind of like you look together, man.
Working at it, it's always a work in progress. But having 2 young kids, it certainly helps. And still staying involved on the road. I really believe it's the zest for life, right? If you wake up in the morning and you're just looking at passing the hours away until the night comes so you can go back to bed, I think it's a matter of time before those wrinkles get a little bit deeper. I'm still amazed every day that there's always something that kicks me in the ass to want to get out there to do something else. I still have dreams and aspirations, things I want to still, that I still aspire to. But you talk. I gauge myself against my guys, right? So I look at Ricky Steamboat. And Rick, if you're out there, I hate you because the little bit of gray if he had on the side, if he would paint, color that black like he used to be, he would look like Ricky Steamboat from 1983, 84.
That's true.
His waist is still this big and
so
no wrinkles. I mean, what the hell? So these guys still got these. It takes a lot of spackle to fill these things in every morning.
That is so great. We're going to start the last auction item. Cool. This is an ECW original figure with Shane Douglas with the small head. The little tiny head of these smaller. This is basically a variant of this figure, and the bids are starting right now in the comment section. And once again, the franchise will sign this however you would like it signed because he's a cool dude and that's what he does. Yeah. Now, let's say you got a weekend off. It's Saturday morning. The rooster starts crowing.
Yeah.
Tell me, what is Shane Douglas's perfect Saturday?
Usually out of bed by 5:30, 6:30 absolute latest.
So the rooster hasn't even crowed yet before you started your day.
I go out and pinch the rooster's ass to wake him up. But I get up. I typically hit the gym at some point during that morning. My Saturdays are pretty tied up with my youngest son. He's usually involved in something athletic: football, basketball, hockey, all the rest of the sports I mentioned. And honestly, I ask my friends this all the time. Is there anything else you'd rather be doing? Because there's nothing in the universe I'd rather be doing than watching my son play his guitar someplace or my younger son playing a sport someplace. I tried that marriage route. Didn't fit me. Didn't fit me that well. But I think it's a little different.
It's just the way you said it. The marriage route didn't fit me that well.
Those that know the story, they get it. But for me, like we have, when you have 2 sons, like anybody that's a parent out there understands, the love that you get from a child is just unbelievable and really humbles you. But then we go out on the road and we meet fans that tell us they've been watching us for 20, 30 years, or younger kids in the business. Hey, I got in the business because of you. You were inspiration to me. When you broke into this business, you don't have any aspiration. I want to be a champion one day, or kids are going to want to get into the business because of me. You just don't think that way.
I said I wanted to hang out with you. I was like, I got to the business. I'm trying to do this to hang out and interview Shane Douglas, people.
He needs to shoot higher, doesn't he, fellas? But yeah, so like a typical weekend for me, like right now, especially when I'm not with my kids, I'm usually on the road making appearances and meeting the fans out there, and never tire of it. Not that you need to have that, how would you phrase it without it sounding bad? I don't need the validation from the fans, but it is so rewarding that somebody remembers, can come up to you and repeat the belt throwdown speech verbatim.
Beta.
Remember better than I remember, and I wrote the damn thing. And that somebody paid attention, and that you made some sort of ripple in this business. I can remember me and Mick being those snot-nosed kids in Dominic's school, and I was telling Chelsea this in the other room when people would ask us, "Are you going to go on the road, or are you going to try to go like WWF or NWA back then?" And both of us and this is not a joke, neither of us believed that we had the goods to be able to go on the road. We knew we were good for local indie wrestling, but that guy Bret Hart, that guy Mr. Perfect, that guy Jake Roberts, that guy Ricky Steamboat, that guy Ric Flair, they were so like miles beyond what you could even possibly imagine doing. And, then you get a chance to get your foot in that door, start to learn from those guys, working with those guys in the ring and traveling and listening and learning. And you start to go, okay, maybe I rethink this, and you start to think, okay, well, I can get maybe to here, but these guys are still way up here. And so it's always been, I still find things to try to learn about the business. But that's what keeps me interested in the business. It's the same thing every day. It's Groundhog Day, right? There's no interest in that to me. I want to learn and have fun and be pushed and challenged in the ring tonight, or, whatever I'm doing. Not just the wrestling, that's the way I live my life.
Gotcha. Let's see if anybody has challenged the top bidder for this ECW Shane Douglas figure, Michael.
This was a clean auction. Everybody followed the rules. The bids went up. When people were out, they were out. So we haven't finished on this one. Nick Benkovic at $100 is going to be the winner of this.
Okay.
On a 10-second clock, but Brian Firth and Jason Cantrell, thank you very much for letting us know you're out.
If you don't mind putting in the comment section what you want signed on this figure. Sir, if you don't mind giving the 10-second countdown, let the fans at home know that they got 10 seconds before this thing is off the table.
Just a couple things real quick. Anybody that wants to book the franchise out there, go to ShaneDouglasBooking@gmail.com. No S at the end of booking. ShaneDouglasBooking@gmail.com. And I've been working with a little promotion down in West Virginia called Appalachian Championship Wrestling. A lot of great young talent. The same way that Mick Fuller and I were learning, these kids are learning now. So you get a chance, check it out online, and check out their summer tour this year. Pretty interesting stuff going on.
That's incredible. This auction has officially ended, but I've still got like 2 questions for you. So I don't care that the auction's ended. We're still going to stay on the air for like the next. I got 10 minutes technically before I have to get off the air, so I'm going to keep talking to you on air for a second if you don't mind. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought because I was like, wait, we're done early. We got time to talk. People, you can still pick up this Drew McIntyre Funko for $60, by the way, by typing in sold Drew McIntyre Funko 60 in the comment section. What is something that is, I don't want to just say charities, but what is an important cause to you, franchise Shane Douglas? What is something that like maybe like a charitable cause or like a group that people should really look into that is of your interest?
Well, there's so many great causes out there. One that's real close to me, because I haven't been a teacher. I started my teaching profession, my teaching career with special ed students. And I have 2 family members that are on the Asperger's spectrum. Both very intelligent, incredible young men. They're incredible learners, but they just learn a different way. So for anybody out there that has family members that are either on the Asperger's spectrum or have some similar condition, go out there and support it. In years past, society would turn their back on these kids, right, and say, well, they can't this and they can't that. I assure you, from what I'm seeing with my nephews, they're off the scales intelligent. They just need to be taught the way that they learn. So go out there, support it. You can do that through the PTA. You can do that at your local school board meetings. You can do it by giving money to the different causes for that, to help find what is the cause of this and help these young men and women out. Because, like I said, I watch my 2 nephews and I see them, what my sister's first thought was when they were first diagnosed. She had really lowered her expectations, and as they've gotten older, she's realized these kids are incredibly intelligent young men. They just learn a different way. So be patient with it and support it every way you can to try to figure out what causes it and put it to rest.
Gotcha. That's an absolutely great cause. There are several autism charities out there to just look at, or as he said, just at least look at and learn more about. Guys, we are coming to the end of the show. Next week, we will have Faye freaking Jackson, the plus-size Pam Grier. Have you ever heard of Faye Jackson?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have any thoughts for her, any comments to her? We're going to show her this clip whenever she gets here. So if you'd like to give Faye any type of love or message, please do it into that camera right there.
What I just said about the Asperger's and the autism, the same thing. We're seeing this, right? It used to be that if you weren't a certain size, if you weren't a certain shape, if you weren't a certain height, whatever, like the business had no place for you, right? And we've seen so much of that change, and we're seeing now with the business, and not just in wrestling, right? We're seeing it in pop culture, we're seeing it in music, where the world is given a whole different avenue to plus sizes and to people of different with different issues, whether it be the Asperger's or learning disabilities or not everybody has to be the 105-pound svelte little beauty, right? There's what's the woman's name, the singer?
Lizzo, Adele.
Lizzo, there you go. And you watch her and you listen to her sing, right? 20, 25 years ago, you'd never heard of her, right? And now she's got a platform out there and really got a following. So it's, to me, I keep going back to the old Bill Wattsism, right? At Thanksgiving dinner, nobody wants just a big pile of turkey. So thank God, because when I came into the business, everybody was 7 foot tall and 550,000 pounds. When you see, for me, when I see somebody reaching for their dream, and they say, well, I don't look like that person, or I'm not built like that person, or I can't do what that person does. And if they still pursue their dream, a lot gutsier than the stuff I did when I was trying to break into the business. I don't know if I would have had the gumption to do that. So God bless them, and best of luck to all of them.
Gotcha. And where can the fans at home find you? Your social media, your podcast, all of that good stuff.
The podcast, the Triple Threat podcast, is on Vince Russo's The Brand. The franchise with Shane Douglas and Brian Resner is on all the podcast outlets. Preface this, I haven't been on my social media much lately because of the censorship, stalwart against the censorship, so I don't want to support that. But at the franchise SD on Twitter, Shane the Franchise Douglas on Facebook, and my gab is the Franchise Shane Douglas, I believe. I haven't been on that one since I started it, so one of those. But find me on there.
Gotcha. This has been fun. We hope that we can have you back on this show sometime again in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in tonight for the Highspots virtual gimmick table. Please tune in next week for our guest, Faye the Thickness Jackson.